So it's not Fort Bragg anymore. It's not, or it was Fort Bragg, and then they changed it to Fort Liberty, and then now they went back to Fort Bragg again, right? Not because we're honoring Braxton Bragg, not that treasonous, traitorous, white supremacist, fucking coward, loser, piece of shit. That's not what we're doing. We're actually going to honor a guy named Bragg who was carrying medical supplies or did something, right? Okay, yeah, bullshit. The idea of going back to the Confederate fucking names makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. Is this a white supremacist nation, or are we a nation of Bill of Rights and Constitution, 3 branches of government? Are we a free country and a free people, or are we just a bunch of fucking racist piles of shit? There's a lot of problems with going back to Fort Bragg, and now they're talking about doing another statue back in D.C. So the idea of going back to Fort Bragg, this makes no sense because the Confederates give a blueprint for how to topple the United States of America. So whereas they're just being a bunch of racist fucks, they're actually doing themselves a disservice. Because if you just take a quick look over everything that this damn Braxton Bragg had done, he killed a bunch of Americans. So let's see here. I got a lot to go over, so buckle in. The Army of the Mississippi was changed to the Army of the Tennessee. He was at the Battle of Shiloh. Braxton Bragg was. Braxton Bragg was one of the worst generals of the Civil War. It's like Fort Hood. You're going to name yourself after a anti-American fucking not only loser of the war, but like an ineffectual fucking general. He was a terrible general. So Braxton Bragg was at the Battle of Shiloh. He's going to be like a commander of some sort in Perryville, Stones River, which was against Rosecrans, the Chickamauga. He lost Chattanooga. He was a corps commander under Johnston, the Battle of Bentonville, 1865, and he also attended the final cabinet meeting of the Confederacy in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Or is that where they caught him, in Murfreesboro, Tennessee? Is that where the cabinet meeting was, or is that where they finally caught him? Braxton Bragg is a treasonous, traitorous, racist coward, pile of shit, and he's pretending that black folks aren't people, and that it's okay for them to be owned, to make them slaves, while proclaiming liberty and democracy for himself. Do they even believe in liberty and democracy? It's just about skin color, right? Do they have any values, any principles whatsoever? Maybe they're just a bunch of hypocritical piles of shit because they're just authoritarian savages. Just a bunch of slave-driving, authoritarian, fascist, barbaric piles of shit. So on January 11th, 1861, Braxton Bragg had led 500 men to Baton Rouge, and he took over a federal arsenal. So he is a major general of the state army in New Orleans, and he was brigadier general in Pensacola, Florida, and Alabama, West Florida. West of Florida, Pensacola. So Benny Johnson, I've wrote here, then he's major general again. So it's interesting about so he's a major general, then he's a brigadier general, then he goes back to being a major general. Do titles even matter after? Braxton Bragg is going to march 10,000 troops to Corinth, Mississippi. So, okay, with that Baton Rouge thing, he took over a federal arsenal. So, let's make him major general. That was January 11th, 1861, before Lincoln even set foot in office. Braxton Bragg. So yeah, you're gonna fight an enemy that's not even in power yet. Braxton Bragg. What? Lincoln? He was elected? Oh shit. We better do as much fucking damage as we can before he becomes the president. Braxton Bragg marched 10,000 troops to Corinth, Mississippi. This is after the Baton Rouge thing. And then at the Battle of Shiloh, this is in southwest Tennessee. So in southwest Tennessee, Braxton Bragg killed 2,000 Americans. He wounded 8,400 Americans, captured, stole, missing Americans was 3,000. So that's, over 10,000 casualties, including 2,000 murdered. The Battle of Shiloh was against U.S. Grant and Don Carlos Buell. So Braxton Bragg, this is a guy that we're going to honor, right? So Braxton Bragg fought against America. He invaded Tennessee, killed 2,000 Americans, and then ultimately retreated. I got Margaret Kimball written for some reason here. Then he becomes full general. Jefferson Davis promotes him to full general. At the Battle of Perryville, he's going to invade Kentucky. So Braxton Bragg invaded Tennessee. He invaded Kentucky. You're just giving a blueprint to rebellion against the United States. If you want to topple the United States, then you get a hold of the state government, you secede, you get other states to secede with you, and then you invade other states in the Union, and then just either wound or capture or just straight up slay thousands of Americans. The Battle of Perryville was Braxton Bragg versus Don Carlos Buell. And again, Braxton Bragg is going to kill 845 Americans. He's going to wound 3,000 Americans and capture 515 Americans. And then again, he's going to retreat through the Cumberland Gap. So he invaded Tennessee, retreats, invades Kentucky, retreats through the Cumberland Gap. The Battle of Stones River. This is central Tennessee. So again, he goes and invades Tennessee. Braxton Bragg is going against William Rosecrans and Thomas Crittenden and a guy named McCook, and David S. Stanley and George H. Thomas and Philip Sheridan. A lot of popular names are at the Battle of Stones River. Braxton Bragg, all he had was John C. Breckinridge's Orphan Brigade and then that Leonidas Polk. What are you, some sort of Leonidas Polk? You fucking Leonidas Polk douchebag son of a bitch. And then he's going to retreat again. But before Braxton Bragg retreats from Stones River, Tennessee, he killed 1,700 Americans, wounded 7,500 Americans, captured 5,000 Americans. So he's already killed 2,000 Americans in Shiloh, killed 848 Americans in Perryville, Kentucky, killed 1,700 Americans in Stones River, Tennessee. And then it gets a little complicated. He's going to retreat to Tullahoma behind the Tennessee River. Rosecrans is pursuing him. He's going to attack him. He's going to squash him. But during this Tullahoma campaign, Rosecrans attacks him, but he attacks back, kills another 569 Americans, wounds 473 Americans, captures 13. Then the Confederates give Braxton Bragg Simon B. Buckner's troops, which swells Braxton Bragg's army to 70,000 men. 70,000 men! I mean, you had George Washington was able to take over America from the British with only about 10,000. So 70,000, he's got, 7 times the army that George Washington has. Then you have the Knoxville-Chattanooga campaign and the Battle of Chickamauga. So he had 52,000 Confederates. Now he's got 70,000 Confederates. Rosecrans is going to retreat to Chattanooga. But George Henry Thomas, the defense had held the line. So the Union held the line. Then you have a Battle of Chickamauga. And you're going to have Braxton Bragg is going to kill more Americans. He killed 2,000 Americans in Shiloh, Tennessee. He killed 845 Americans in Perryville, Kentucky. He killed 1,700 Americans at Stones River, Tennessee. He killed 500